So I'm happy to put my money where my brain is and lay some concrete here. First I've got to just remove this retaining wall. So yeah, the other thing that's really got to happen before we do the concreting is getting rid of this retaining wall. And I haven't quite worked out how I'm going to do it yet, but I had a bit of a start with this, and we're going to see what happens. If I can do it without treading on anything or spiking myself with a nail, that'll be even better. I think bashing it with a hammer, I don't know, we'll give it a go. Well, I haven't got a hammer, but I've got a block splitter thing, and that might do. Oh yeah. There's a few roots here that are presumably from this tree, and it's not out of the question that I could get rid of that tree, but the goal, as I'm sure I've mentioned, is to do my best not to chop down trees. I'm really glad that I did it. It really has opened up a bunch of space, and I think the track layout I have in mind is going to use it. So all that remains now is to dig around here and get out these 5 posts, and that's not going to be exciting viewing. So I'll do that on my own. Just the same as we did around the other side. So now the track's going to be able to sort of run around like this, and it's going to open up more space. This, where I am right now, this is the narrowest part of the track that has to fit 2 lanes in it. So just anything extra is welcome. And yeah, it's probably half a metre wider here. So we're going to lay the concrete right past this fence here, and I think the fence is going to have to go just so that we've got room for formwork, and I want to make sure that the path as you're coming through is where I want it to be and not dictated by a fence that I can get rid of really quickly. So let's have a little look. Flat battery. We didn't even see the fence come out, but it really was that easy. Looks pretty good. I've probably just crept the line out just a tiny bit, just here compared to what I was now that the fence isn't there. I dug around these holes. To be honest, actually it wasn't that bad. And then I put some water in it and sat down and had a beer. Well, that wasn't hard. This has all been easier than I expected it to be. It's genuinely taken less time to do this than I've spent staring at it, trying to convince myself that it was worth doing.
Sorry, this one was...
A couple of these are nice enough to have broken the concrete in 2, so at least it's only half as heavy to dig out of here. I may end up sort of going slightly deeper into here than I anticipated. And as I said at the start, the preference is for this tree to stay, but I am at some point going to have to stand back and have a look, and maybe in fact it makes more sense to run the concrete another metre or 2. But I might have to think on it anyway. I think that's just too heavy for me to get out on my own. I just kind of had this idea that one of the things I've hated about this stage 1, this extra slab of concrete, was that it was going to be just that, just concrete. And what if I actually planned that this really was going to be the corner, and therefore this space here wasn't going to be used and it could still stay as grass? Because I reckon that as I expand the track out into the rest of the yard, having patches of grass to break up the concrete is going to be really crucial to the difference between it feeling like a backyard racetrack versus feeling like a backyard car park. Did you just hear those birds? It's like 5 meters away. That's awesome. This is why I don't want to pull down trees if I can get away with it. But this tree here, if it turns out that this tree here has to go, it has to go. But I think I need to decide in the next hour because I just can't afford to mess around. Like, my mate who's helping me do the concrete, he's coming real soon, so I need to make a decision about this patch of grass here, about the width of the track, and the width of the track is totally going to be determined by which one of these lines I take and whether or not the last metre of retaining wall stays and whether that tree stays. There's 2 magpies just here. Do you want to sing a beautiful song for us? Here's a 3rd one. All right. Hey, so this is Alex, who's going to help with the concreting. Alex got a business called Concrete Jungle, which is a bit of a giveaway to the fact that we share a bit of music interests in common as well. Anyway, the last time Alex was here was barely over 24 hours, 48 hours ago, and I promised him I'd have this retaining wall gone, and I've kept my end of the bargain. I'd been planning to do this that way, yeah, and now I'm looking and going, it's not like I was ever going to do anything else with this extra space out here, and it just opens it up. And then what I wondered was, so what if we do formwork around here and we leave a garden bed here, right? So this is the flexible formwork that we're going to need lots of, because basically everything I'm going to do out of concrete is going to be curved. And these things are great. They're really flexible. And so you can create lovely little teardrop shapes like this. Anyway, I'm glad that Alex has got a bunch of these because I knew we were going to need a lot. Made the call. The tree is going to go, and so is the next metre and a bit of retaining wall. And it's going to make this better, and I'm going to add more track out here. And that's what Alex has marked out with the string line. It's got to go. As much as I love trees, I can always plan another one, and I probably will. I might do this one last time. It's pretty cool. These are a good tree. I'm going to miss it. I'll miss you, tree. Well, you know, it can't get any more brown, can it? Wow. And it's heaps cooler than overalls. Rock. Okay. Yep. There we go. Good job. So it suddenly looks a whole lot better all over here. Being happy with this corner is key, because the thing that's actually stopped me from doing this stage 1 for so long is the fact that I really wasn't sure that it was going to achieve anything. And now I just look at this and I'm absolutely sure it's going to be epic. Like, if this is just the beginning, then, oh, I am excited. I really am. One of the layouts I had over there was a sort of future layout, and I'm making the teardrop shaped cutout over there is going to be bigger because in future I'm going to have more space. There's currently a lane here and a lane here, and one of them is the way in and one of them is the way out. But in future, we're only going to need a lane out here because the lane in is going to be here. This is no earlier than stage 3 because stage 1's required to just make the track work and be more interesting. And then stage 2 is definitely going to be making it wider down near the letterbox so I can run all the way down to the front near the road. all we've really got to do is just kind of level this to the right level, and I've got to take up all the grass basically, and I really can't be bothered doing it by hand, so tomorrow I'm renting a bobcat, skid steer loader thing, and I'm going to rip it up with that. So, it's absolutely bucketing down, and tomorrow is the morning that I've got the skid steer loader. Oh. But yeah, it's hail, and it's a lot of water. Like, it's just a lot of water. Okay, so back up here, it's the morning after the sudden downpour last night, and I've come up to see how muddy it is and whether or not it's too wet to still get the skid steer loader today, or to still do the concreting tomorrow. I've just dug a hole out, and I'll dig another one just here. It's pretty dry under there, and I don't think that the skid steer is going to have any trouble driving on that. So I've gone and got myself a skid steer, and it's time now to work out if I can even remember to drive these things. And then this has got a 4-in-1 bucket, so it should be the case, so I can tilt the bucket like this, and then this lever here, I think from memory, no, oh yep, yeah, so I can open the bucket, and then I can tilt it, and means that then I can scrape along and scrape the soil up. This is proving to be just a bit more of a challenge, and there was a significant part of the last hour where I was there going, I would be quicker with a shovel, and it's going to be really embarrassing if I achieve nothing with this. But I think I'm starting to get the hang of it. I'm going to just jump back in, do a bunch more scraping, and we'll see what we can do. I seem to have got stuck with the bucket in an upright position. It just kind of stalled, and I'm hoping that it stalled because it was out of fuel. But I guess we'll work that out really soon. I was sort of driving along, and I've got the bucket half up and everything else. I was emptying the bucket, and it just sort of coughed and died. I reckon so. I just wiggled it again. Hey! I'm going to give it revs for a sec, because the bucket... So, give me just one sec. Oh, yep. We're good. Thanks so much. But anyway, I got it going again. It was all to do with the lever that opens this being in the wrong position. Anyway, keep going and try and scrape as much of this as I can. Right. I've managed to get the little skid steer bogged in the corner, and thankfully I've managed to get one of the neighbours, the next door neighbours, to help me pull it out. And this is good proof, in fact, that the neighbours don't hate me for whizzing around the track I already have on this go-kart. Anyway, we'll just go pull it out. Thank you very, very, very much. Nope. Turkey. So I've just managed to find in the dirt the little microphone transmitter that I lost off my shirt yesterday, and to be honest, it was probably within 1.5 meters of where I thought it was based on re-watching the footage and seeing where I was when the sound cut out. I have absolutely no idea whether this is ever going to work again, but at least now I don't have to spend any time looking for it. I'm not going to lie, I am wrecked. So it's now Thursday afternoon and the road base is getting delivered on Saturday. So yeah, I'm not sad to have a day to rest, and I'm also not sad to have another day or 2 days for for this soil to dry out here where I somewhat stupidly flooded it with water trying to dig out all the post holes and the tree roots. Can you see what I've done in the background? I'm not making last minute changes to this concrete. What I'm doing is playing around with what I've got in my mind for whatever future stage expansion goes over here. How does that work with what I've done? And what I've kind of stumbled upon is that there's a possibility that I could just make another little obscure non-rectangular gap in the concrete to have a garden bed, which I'd love to do if it's going to work. And the most likely way that it's going to happen, because I'm basically am happy with sort of what's going on over there, is that this path here, the outside lane of what I'm building right here, instead of continuing on down there, would split off at this point. So, does that mean I can fit in another garden bed and then temporarily fill it in? Well, I guess I got a couple of days to think about that. The window of time that they told me that the truck would be here with this gravel finished 8 minutes ago. What we want, ideally, is that he's going to drive the truck right in and start up here and start tipping right here, and then just drive forward and go with gravel here. Looks like the truck's going to fit just fine. Sweet as. This is looking awesome. I was really worried that he wasn't going to be able to get all the way up here because I bloody didn't want to have to wheelbarrow, you know, however much gravel's about to come out of that truck. This is right where I wanted it. That's just great. So I actually did come out to just do a bit of final placement of the pool noodles over there for the garden cutout, but I think I'm gonna have to leave this until I don't have four-legged help, because pretty much wherever I put a pool noodle right now, or if I move it, it ends up removed. So, oh, Alex has turned up with at least one helper to start spreading this base. Two helpers. Sweet as. Well, I better stick this camera up and start helping them, because I've still got to chuck a bit of sand in these ditches underneath these pipes that are here, mostly just underneath the drainage one. I'm just getting the sand from over here where the water tank used to be that I got rid of, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. As has happened before, when there's actual work to be done, I'm nowhere to be seen. But at least I was off getting water and beer for the people who are doing some work, which is an important job.
Oh, thank you.
So my little update, got the drainage pipe in, trenches filled up. I'm finally happy. I just took a tiny bit more dirt out from that corner over there for the millionth time. Starting to look pretty good. This morning when Alex turned up, I gave him 2 bits of bad news, one of which was that I'd extended the shape of the garden bed down there quite significantly, so it was going to create a bit of extra formwork for him and sort of complicate the layout. And the other was that I'd chiseled out just an extra couple of centimetres on the outside of this curve, probably just from there around to about here, so that I could push this bit of formwork out just a bit further again. And the reason I've done it is because it really opens it up in this direction, so that as you're coming into this corner, you just see more available track on the outside, which gives you just a little bit more buffer to not go too close to this padded post on the inside. It looks like Alex is back with a whole bunch of steel Rio. So it's this orange and white line
Orange and white stripes is the line we're following.
Yeah.
I've said to Alex, orange and white line around here, that's the line we take. And I'm sticking to it. Back again early this morning. The boys have been here. Alex has done the formwork around here. Hamish has done the chairs underneath the Rio, and we're just going to do everything from here up as a concrete pour today, and everything from here down tomorrow or the day after, something like that. Slight chance that it's going to rain this afternoon, which might screw with our plans, but you know, fingers crossed. I didn't make any last minute changes to the shape of the formwork up here for this sort of cutaway in the garden bed. Didn't make any changes to that last night, but I did make some changes down with the other end of it, just pacing around in the dark, and I'm happy with it now. We've got a new line, it's dotted purple, and that's the one that I've told Alex to follow. So yeah, I think it's pretty much all good to go. I really am loving the fact that this garden bed that I've made kind of looks a bit like a whale or a fish or something. You can really see how close the track is here to the edge of the tree. But I do need to bridge this gap, otherwise, you know, it's just going to be a ravine and I'll have to fill it full of hungry, angry hippos. Hangry hippopotamuses in here. And I picked myself up a couple of boxes of the yellow stuff as well, so I'll be able to make alternating black and yellow, which, you know, not quite traditional racetrack red and white, but I think it'll look pretty good. I can't wait for you to see it, because once I put on all of the padding that I got today, it's going to be so colourful and also so functional, like it'll stop me killing myself.